Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on R and win-win-win. We believe in non-conventional energy sources from India, and with all those W's in the ticker, they need to harvest a lot of wind power.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check and it's gone.
Hey, welcome to the Laughing Stock, everybody. Johnny, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just a bit. I'm reading the news, just trying to interpret everything. It's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I was just doing the same thing. For better or for worse here, apparently we just captured the president of Venezuela.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm assuming this is like, we were just talking about it's probably all narcotics based, but I just didn't know you could just like go do that.
Yeah. I see there's some commentary that compares it to Russia, Ukraine already. So it's just going to be a lot of noise now, and I'm not heavy into the situation. So I don't understand all the the nuances and stuff. I just know that like with you, it's I just didn't know that you can just go and do that.
Well, I will say that it's a huge difference. Like people are, it's like I'm just looking at comments and stuff, and people are saying like this is like a preemptive war. And if it was preemptive war, you wouldn't just go capture their leader.
Yeah.
Like by taking the leader out of the situation, you kind of like skip the war phase.
There was a senator or something that said like the plan was to put him in a court in the States and hold him responsible. But I guess there are some rules even in war and stuff like that that I think yeah, let's see. I saw the explosions and stuff, and I just it looks a bit bad, right?
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. I mean, we have a serious drug crisis in this country. That's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it really, though. I like in terms of like, I know Venezuela's involved, but I don't really know how deep that goes or any of the background story. So I don't really have any comment. But I would imagine, like you said, it's probably maybe rocky for markets on Monday.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
But it could, unless it, like if it's a really quick conflict, like if we just swoop in, get this guy and take him to court.
Which is what Trump says you have done already.
Yeah, it just sounds more like a police raid than like a military conflict.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's not what I was expecting. So just a few things to update everybody. This is current list. I did take stuff off, so if you look at the list that I posted yesterday before the markets had opened, you'll see which ones were winners, and I took those off. And I was so close. I was telling, I took SOC in the morning as it had pulled back. If you look at the intraday here,
Oh yeah.
I got it. I think on somewhere on this candle here is where I got it. It was at like 10. I think it was like upper 40s is where I got in, and then was holding it, and of course I got stopped out here when it dropped down to the 1040. I mean, I got I took a like a 0.5% win on it, so it actually was a gain for my stop loss. But then of course I wasn't watching it, and it perfectly consolidates again on the intraday chart here, and then missed this entire move, so that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Because
And this is
big
like what you are missing out on when you don't do this full time. Like you can so clearly see it on the intraday chart there. Like
Yeah.
there's no question you would have jumped in again there.
Yeah, because I was initially, so if you guys aren't like totally understand what I'm saying, so this is the initial consolidation that I saw. So when this candle, when it started to come back up, that's where I took my position is in here. And then it kind of, when it got up to around 11, I moved that stop loss up from break even to like the 0.5%. But then it just kind of trickled back down. And so I mean, honestly, I had a stop loss in because I was working, so I wasn't able to watch it. So I don't exactly see or know where I got stopped out. But
the blue line is
the second candle here is I put the stop loss in pretty quick, and then I didn't get to watch it. So I thought it was gonna do this move over here, but then what Johnny's saying too is like this is the spot here. If you were watching, this is a really nice consolidation zone too. There's actually a small cup and handle here. I guess you could have taken it on that handle right there.
Yeah. Your blue line is the VWAP, right?
I'm sorry.
The blue line.
Blue line's VWAP here too. So
yeah.
it broke VWAP on that breakout right here too.
Yeah. Yeah. No. That's a good looking chart at the spot you were drawing in there, but that sucks. It happens so often. Like you get shaken out just before a bigger move, and then it's very annoying, right?
Well, so I mean that is what it is. And then the other one I took yesterday was CSIQ, which I did get stopped out on it as well, but that one was for basically break even.
Yeah.
I got in a little late on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I took it on a few. I think last week I also got stopped on it. To me, it just seems like it's continuing to building a base.
Yeah,
so this will be on my watch
still
list.
Looks good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is still on my watch list. I track it daily because I really like what's going on right now, and. If you look at the weekly as well, it seems to me it needs a little bit more time.
Yeah, it looks like it has just a little bit further to go. But I mean, this could really break out. I mean,
yeah, this can really break out. It's also in a group solar, and it's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
So it moves a little bit different, but there's some money coming also in, like you can see from October into this group or this stock, I mean, and also in the space. In general, I think the entire group has had some good moves this year. But to me right now, a few of the tickers in the solar space has started to fade a little bit. But CSIQ, we talked about it last stream too. This one looks really good to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, stuff's work. I mean, Friday was a great day in the markets. The markets started high and then they pulled back and lost a lot of the gains. But in terms of stuff getting volume in for breakouts, there was quite a bit of things moving. This isn't necessarily a great example, but Velo was another one that had a really strong day. FLNC.
If you look at Powell.
What was it?
POW, yeah, the FLNC. I took that one. Oh no, Ada L.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, this was not listening.
Kind of breaking out there, right?
Yeah, I don't really love that chart. It's a little choppy for me, but
Yeah.
clear breakout. I mean, it looks like. Well, I shouldn't say that because it still looks like it's in the line here, but it could be. It's tough to say. This chart to me is tough to read.
Yeah.
It's super choppy.
If you check out the TER, Teradyne,
TER.
yeah, a bit low on the ADR side, but that one had a move.
Yeah, that looks good. What else? There was a few other ones, but either way, I was wondering what plug looked like because I wasn't watching this one. I just saw it had a strong day. But yeah, I don't really love this chart, but it did have
Yeah,
a
same.
stronger bounce day.
WDC, but the problem I found with a few of these that they didn't have so much volume on the breakout candle. Some of them.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on the ones. But hold on, I just want to pull up my Discord from yesterday because honestly, the problem, I almost like I don't want to make more work for myself. So like I don't want to like I was gonna say every time I delete something off because it worked. I was gonna put it on a separate list so I could remember all these things because I keep forgetting the names as I'm pulling them off because I'm like, yep, that one's now it's already went, you know.
You go through so many tickers doing this stuff.
Right, and it's well, and I only have so much time in the morning to kind of set up everything and check the markets and adding anything to my process now starts to become a pain.
Yeah.
Which not the end of the world, but yeah, and now I can't even remember which ones were all up that I took off. But either way, I mean, even of the ones I didn't take off, I mean, Wolf had a decent day, Rocket Lab, AREC,
Yeah.
NRGV. And then it looked like some other things were starting to set up. There's like a random stock. I just thought it looks like it's kind of consolidating. There was a bit strength yesterday, so hopefully this moves sideways a little bit longer. AREC I thought was forming a bit of a cup and handle here, but it's starting to expand. So I'm not really loving that chart just yet. It needs.
There's a lot of charts that looks like that right now.
Yeah. BFLY I had added yesterday, and now that I'm looking at it today, it's kind of like I don't love that candle. There's a little bit too much movement there. I was if you discount this one, it looked like it had a nice little flag on it, but
yeah.
BLT still looks good, and that's riding the 10-day pretty well. BW I just thought it's forming a nice handle, so this one looks like it could, and this is a 52-week high if it breaks out, so this one's interesting to me. This one, I feel like these sometimes these gap ones, these are hard because it's held this range right here. And I feel like the next time this one breaks, it just jumps up and like it's impossible to catch some of these. Like PRAX, that's one that keeps doing it. And like it's just super hard to catch these stocks because they move sideways and when it pops, there's like no warning. It just gaps up and then moves sideways and then pops. And I know this one's kind of pulled back a little bit, but these jumps are hard to catch. I mean, so
yeah.
That it just kind of reminds me of this chart. Maybe a little bit early on, obviously, but kind of that idea. CATX looks like it's kind of it consolidated and it could break out. CSIQ just went over. CTMX, this is a false breakout. It looked like it was going to do it and then pulled right back, but we'll see. Maybe that was the last bit of liquidity drying up. This thing has been riding that 20-day like perfectly. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
So, DBBT, this one's still just kind of consolidating. It's a little choppy back here, so I'm not loving it, but I kind of see something here. This one was just consolidating. This one looks like it keeps forming higher lows, and it's got a pretty flat top to it, so just kind of watching this. Kind of consolidating, a little choppy, but it's been on my list for a minute. MBX I just put on there, just kind of has a bit of a little flag here. It's not impressive, it pulled back, but it keeps riding this 20-day, which is It's a biotech, so who knows?
Yeah.
NRGV still flagging sideways. PRAX I just talked about. This is what you were talking about, Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab looked to have a pretty solid day there. So if this can push out of here, definitely can break out range. So we'll see if this has any follow-up.
Yeah, I've had some good success with it before also, and it was on my list yesterday. The thing is, I jumped into, you showed it already, FLNC, which was also extended on the day. So I thought I had made a mistake taking it because I went in a bit late. I just like the weekly chart a lot on that one, and I've been tracking it for a while. So I thought, now I'm just going to put a tight stop loss and see what happens. And so far it worked out. So I didn't want to do the same on Rocket Lab. But I wanted to get into Rocket Lab again. It was just, I just wanted to be a bit patient, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some good buying coming in at the end of the day for FLNC, and after hours it held the range. So
yeah, so hopefully you can follow through. But now there's some. I didn't like the news we talked about earlier. Now for stock
well, yeah.
market.
But like this is another example. Like we were talking. So obviously this one is one of those ones in the morning. If you can get in like right away on one of these, you know, you just keep seeing it raising these higher lows, and then you get one of these big candles like this. When you're watching this, this is essentially like when people talk about watching the tape and something's just kind of flying up. If you're able to watch the price pretty actively and you just keep seeing it jump up like that, that's a great time to try and hop in, because there's a super good chance that you can kind of lock that price in without getting stopped out immediately. And then, yeah, it has to not pull back. But if you miss that one, there's a pretty good little wedge right there. I would think this is the next time you could get in on this one. This one's not as clean cut, and now it's getting extended. You know what I mean? Like even this is extended, like Johnny was saying, but it did kind of hold up on VWAP. That's one other thing here I would look at intraday wise. And even this, now this is starting to hold the 10 and 20 days. So even if you get in on late on some of these, like he said, as long as your stop's tight, you know, yeah, it sucks because you're late in the move. But if this one starts to run, and like he's saying, you know, it's not like we're watching this for, the goal is to use like an intraday chart to get into it, but that's not like the long-term goal. The long-term goal is to, you know, to do a swing trade. So if you look at the like daily chart or weekly chart, this is where you can clearly see a nice breakout, and hopefully it can keep pushing from here. So even if you do get late in on a move, but it's a good daily chart, now this can start to turn into that swing trade. So
and
that's
I managed to I managed to put an even tighter stop at the end of the day there. So if it pulls back now, unless it gaps down, I have minimized my loss anyway. So.
And we'll wake up to Monday, the market's all being down by 5% because that stupid Venezuela attack. Hopefully not. Let's not start this year off like that, please.
Yeah.
RLMLD, it's kind of just holding this channel. It's like one of those sliding channels. I know it was down 9%, whichever, like most people probably like take that off their list, but it's still in the range to me, you know?
Yeah.
Like before, I would have thought that was super bearish, but it does that. I mean, it moves that range. Once again, these are high ADR stocks. So this thing, to have a 9% move down or up in any given day is nothing crazy. TERN just looks super tight here. I still think this one looks pretty good, and it tapped the 20, it bounced right back up. So I like this chart.
Yeah. In my view here, Dane, the ants showed up in the move ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can see that movement.
Yeah, and there's like it had its biggest ever up volume on 3rd of November.
Right.
That was also before the earnings report. So there's a lot of buying coming in here. To me, though, it's a bit extended up here, even though I like how it looks. It's a bit extended in the move, I think.
Yeah, we're a bit away from the 50. This isn't like I mean, just, you know, if you look at this took all the way from, let's argue, August to November for this to kind of run out of liquidity and break out. So it could take time, and you have all this heavy buying pressure in a really short amount of time. I mean, this went from $8 to 40. I mean, you know, almost
Yeah, and
it almost tapped 50 at one point. So
if you track it from 7th of April, which is the low for the year, it's up 2,480%.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you go back to April, this is deep value at its core.
Yeah.
But this is why I keep saying, you know, at some point when I have more time, I'm gonna blend those strategies, because if you
Yeah,
let's just annotate this guy here. If you were looking stuff coming off 52-week lows, and you find stuff that only, like, for instance, I know Q and all these guys are like follow the trend, blah blah blah, and there's definitely going to be some nuances with doing this style. I think you'd have to take smaller position sizes, because there is going to be failure, and or have really strict stops. But
yeah,
if you're looking at stocks that come off that 52-week high and get this kind of raise where it's up, this is over 100. I mean, it's up 100% in this like month here. And then now you're interested and you're waiting for that next pattern, which this one clearly does the cup and handle, you know, right there. And then this is kind of a rising handle, but it does move in. If you were to take a position in here and you could survive this section, then you're riding this for a long time. And this would be one of those ones that, you know, you would hold for the longer period. So it'd be a little bit more like position trading, similar to more what RK did. But I do want to start looking into that. I think the technicals on top of everything, you know, the more
gives you a better overview.
and you can start to see how the technicals influenced him quite a bit.
Yeah. But again, going back to the volume this has had in this last move up, though, that can be an argument for that it might hold this range and just flatten out a bit and wait for things to catch up a little bit, and then you can potentially see another move, you know, because it's really heavy volume coming in here in terms of what the average used to be. So
Yeah,
someone
and I
has
will
been
argue
buying
too.
this.
You know, if you look at O'Neill, he usually says you get like 3 or 4 bases before a move typically breaks. But this did get pretty extended up to the 50 here. So it could be that we're entering phase 3 here. So just something to think about is, you know, you get these huge expansions and then it's a phase 3. And I almost argue sometimes that you kind of hit between a phase 3 and then it can go back to phase 2. I know Minervini always says it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, but in my mind, the way I'm picturing it is it can kind of go 1, 2, and then like almost like 2.5.
Yeah.
3, where it's kind of basing, could break down, could continue to base. So I kind of think of that as like a turning point in the cycle where it can either move up or move back down, instead of it's just always that perfect bell. I mean, it will turn into a bell curve at some point, but while you're in the bell, it's not as easy to always anticipate that.
Another thing they say, if you just scroll out the 2 seconds, Dane, it's like there's a bit of a change in the character of the stock from that massive volume. It goes up drastically, you know. That's also like a sign that it's coming into the stage 3, because that was the top. But we just have to wait and see. But this definitely have a few of those signs, you know.
Yeah. But definitely a strong stock. I mean, one of the best returners from last year.
Imagine owning this, like you said, below the 200-day moving average.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, when it comes to swing trading, but you were doing more deep value, I mean, you know, when I talk smaller position sizes, like, you know, let's say you're trying to hold, you know, between 10 and 20 positions in a portfolio like that. Even if you took a 5% position on this, and let's say you got in somewhere in here, and even in here, let's say you were in this section, and as it bounced down on some of these, you maybe trimmed half your position. It was only like 2.5%. A 2.5 position at $4 that makes it, you know, to 40 is a 10-bagger. So, I mean, that's a huge return in a relatively short amount of time for 2.5% with really little risk. I mean, you can try and take bigger position sizes, but I honestly feel like the longer your time frame, you know, if you're going to have a longer time frame, you should almost have smaller position sizes, because you're not going to be in and out of things as much. I mean, sure, you can argue maybe stay super concentrated and what do you call it? That's going to lead to like bigger returns, but at the same time, like, are you really confident in a biotech just
Yeah,
because it's
I was
setting
gonna.
up with like no? I mean, maybe there was news in there. I don't know the background story of this, but you know, are you going to put a huge percent of your portfolio in that and hope it rides?
Yeah,
Like, that's a tough decision to make at the time.
yeah. I think in terms of my style, also for the deep value, this would not be on my radar. You know how I like think about the biotech in terms of deep value style. I think they are a bit scary.
Well, there's like
Uh,
1,500 biotech companies, and on
yeah,
any given year, like, I don't know, 20 to 30 of them have a great year. So the
yeah,
odds are already stacked against you.
yeah,
But that's why I said, I mean, you know, when this hits this bottom here and something's up 100%, those are the kind of things that I'm thinking you could flag it, because there's not a ton of them that are in that downtrend that finally pick up until there's some kind of catalyst or something. You know,
yeah,
like, you're just not going to see those kind of moves coming out of like, you know, something that's been in such a deep decline. And then even another argument you could make is you take it when it breaks the 200 here, because this is a pretty uh, channel here. You know, the one I was talking about. When it breaks the 200 moving average here, this could interest you. You know, or maybe
yeah,
you even don't take it until, you know, this gap up in here. I mean, you could even take it on the gap and call it an EP or whatever you want to. All of that would work. But then once again, now you're starting to swing trade. So it's whatever. It doesn't matter. There's different ways to do it.
yeah.
Those are all my different
And
thought patterns going into things.
and you can find a lot of those charts now, by the way, outside of biotech as well. There's just so many that you easy to spot this in hindsight, of course.
Right.
But it's something still to look at moving forward,
Yeah.
to try to recognize all of these signs.
Yeah, and you know, it's just good. Like when, for instance, like I'm just pulling up Tyra here. It's another biotech. Same thing. It had that jump out of April, and once again, remember what was going on there. That was after the tariffs and all that, and you know, the markets were hopefully finding bottoms there because everything had really
Yeah,
plunged. So already a good sign seeing it spring back after that whole episode ended last year. But once again, you can see this thing just travels sideways for a long time, and then you get to that interest, kind of the same time period. This is actually a pretty similar chart.
yeah,
You know, it started
yeah.
in
It is.
November. There must have been some kind of rotation into some of these biotechs. Either that,
Yeah.
or it's just like you said, it's like the earnings time, and there's a few biotechs that had, you know, some kind of news.
Yeah,
But
I think this is more on news because this is after the earnings that the volume comes in.
yeah, but earnings were recently, like in 11:05. That's when you start to see, you know, all this buying pressure come in here too. Sorry guys, I'll move
Yeah.
Johnny's head out of the way so you can see that.
Hey.
But in here it is flagging sideways, and you know, you could argue that it's kind of broken out, but it was only up 1.9%. That's why I didn't really take it off my list. It's kind of not really done anything just yet, so I'm just watching it. Not necessarily one I would take. VFF I just thought was kind of consolidating pretty nicely. We were just talking about this one. It's been a pretty strong stock. It is a little choppy, but it's riding the 50-day really well, and everything's kind of consolidated here. So you got that low volume, you got good contraction, a pretty good setup, a long channel that it's been going in, and now it's really riding the 50-day nicely. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
things with VFF that make me think that this is a spot. It's either going to break out or break down.
Yeah, I was about to say this is and of course it has those two options. You know, either it's gonna go higher or down at some point. But I think the next move you will feel it. You know,
One thing
this is
that
gonna be.
Johnny and I were talking about before the stream is we do the old inverse and then see what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah,
And if I'm looking at the inverse here, I would say that this looks bearish on the inverse, which means it looks bullish. Like if I was to
yeah,
if you were to pull this chart up and tell me what does this look like, I'd be like it's going to go further down, which for us that means it's going to go further up. So I like to flip the chart because it just gives you that other perspective of like, you know, if you were to look at this in the exact opposite realm, what would you think it was doing? Would you think, you know, are you think it's going to go down or up? And from here, I
Yeah.
would definitely argue this looks like it's going to continue to go down. So the inverse of that means it's going to continue to go up. So just one other thing I've been adding in. I like to check the inverse on these charts because was it CSIQ? Oops, I can't type CSIQ. This one, for instance, like sometimes it's hard when it's petering in like this because it's hard to tell which direction it goes in. But when I feel like when you invert it, to me, I would argue it looks like it has better higher lows in this direction. Because I think I was saying that CSIQ, actually this was the opposite for CSIQ. I actually thought that this looks like it could pull back from here. This chart makes me, even though it looks good, this does make me also worry because there is a perfect symmetry on this side.
Yeah.
So
that's
this
true.
one actually, but we are way below the 200. So like if you were doing the exact same thing we do from the opposite perspective, this is still really a bearish looking chart in the inverse. Just because it's so far below that 200. So maybe it could keep going. I'm not saying it's not. I just like to double check these things.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the example I wanted to show because that didn't really quite prove my point. But with that being
We
said,
checked Bitcoin,
there was a chart
Dane.
that we had just looked at. That's why I'm just not sure what company it was. But
It was Bitcoin
oh, was it?
or
Or
Ethereum.
was it? I think it was Ethereum. Maybe it was this chart I was looking at.
Yeah.
I had just pulled up Grayscale on this, which this one looks okay on this. Maybe it was when I inverted it didn't look so good. Yeah, when I invert this one to me looks like it's going to go further down. You're right. It was the
Yeah,
Ethereum chart I saw.
I feel like the next few weeks in the crypto space will give us a clear sign of which direction it's going to continue in, because you can make a case also that it looks a bit good if you don't inverse it here, and it seems like there's coming in some volume, some buying volume lately as well, but very early. I'm not talking about taking a position or anything like that,
Yeah, well, I mean,
just
as an
watch.
inverse chart here, and remember, these volume lines do not correlate. So this is saying there's buying pressure. Like it doesn't inverse my
Yeah.
So what Johnny's saying is right here, even though we're in that like little bit of a downtrend, this could be the first base where it's trying to rally off of, and there was a ton of buying on Friday. So
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of what brought it to our attention in the first place. But
Yeah. Just because these things move when they first start to move, they move. So it's definitely something you want to have on your lists.
yeah.
So
It's just good. I feel like we've always talked about that. Not that I feel like for the first time, the longest time, it doesn't really follow like the cryptocurrencies are all following the markets. So like there's just been a bit of a trend change between the two of them. So it's good to kind of keep them just both in eyes and see how things are doing. Because honestly, no matter what, crypto also makes me think how crypto's doing. That's like a lot of like speculative money coming in. I mean, that's not. Everyone knows Bitcoin's somewhat speculative, regardless of how assured you are that cryptocurrencies are going to be the future. It's still a speculative investment in any way. So the more I see people piling into something like Bitcoin, that makes me think that like retail investors and maybe some of big money that's willing to go into more riskier assets with good for us, those things start to trend up. So it's a good measurement for that at least.
they had a bit of a funny point on something similar to this. You know that guy who runs Trader Lion. Is it Richard?
I can't remember his name, but yeah, I know who you're talking.
Yeah, I think it's Richard. I saw a tweet. He was saying like he was on the subway, and people on the trains, they were discussing how to invest in gold. So
Oh yeah, of
that's a
course.
bearish sign, right?
Everybody wants to get on the gold train. Did silver hold up? I didn't even look at anything silver wise.
Well, I guess it's stopped the downwards move so far, but
I would say that I would, you know, I'm not in love with this chart, but I mean it's kind of held.
Yeah, it did hold, and if it continues to build a base there, we will see again, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean it definitely had a bit of an expansion there, but we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, if you long term wise, it's a great chart.
yeah.
But
If you look at the platinum futures, do you have that in your system, Dave? Yeah,
yeah,
look,
very similar.
again with the characteristics also that last move up there, it's
Yeah.
very steep, right?
No, I'm just looking at all the metals.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I have decided to stay away from them for a bit till we know more,
I'm just looking at like
because
UAMI now, starting to see what other minerals and miners and stuff are doing. Had an 18% day yesterday. I didn't even notice UAMI
but
was up that much.
that gold ticker, what is it? HYMC, that did really well
Oh,
yesterday.
HYMC, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hoycroft, this is one of the few things that keep popping up on my dashboard when you go under insiders. HYMC has had a ridiculous amount of insider buying.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't worry, guys. I still do look at the fundamentals occasionally. Still looking for things like, I mean, even at a base, insider buying's big. I know it's a minor, so it's like, I mean, you're not gonna be able to look at this like you do like some certain companies, but just with the markets, you know, the fact that metals keep becoming more and more rare, and now with potential political consequences, these things can really skyrocket in price as they become more scarce and less traded.
Yeah.
Where was I? And then I just added this one to the chart. It's a little choppy, but I just thought it looked like it had kind of cup and handle. It's a really choppy cup and handle, so I'm just curious to see how this kind of thing works. Strong mover
Yeah.
though, some strong volume recently. Very
Yeah.
cyclical looking chart though. It's not the prettiest chart by any means, but just watching things. Wolf had it looked like maybe a little bit of a breakout. Either that or it's just, you know, showing some positivity in the trend here. Zep's just been moving sideways tightly for a long time now. So I just keep my eye on Zep. But that's the watch list for today. So that's everything that I had from the week.
There's a few of those charts on the last one there. Was it Zep?
Yep.
Yeah. There's a few of them that they just have moved sideways really tight for a while. To me, it seems like they are running out of steam a bit because the volume is just like non-existent, which is why they do trade sideways, you know.
Yeah, but that also can mean that, I mean, this can pop off.
Yeah, for sure. I just yeah, it's below all the averages, you know.
Yeah, I'm not. I would totally agree with you on that. I'm not in love with the
Yeah.
fact it's below everything but the 200.
Yeah.
I would like to see an uptrick, but that's why I'm kind of just keeping an eye on it. If
Yeah.
it does break below the 200, trust me, it's coming off the list.
If you reverse that chart, then isn't it a gigantic cup and handle? Almost.
But I would agree when you say to reverse it. This one makes me think it looks more bearish.
Yeah.
I'm more bearish looking at this than I am.
But let's see. It's just like a lot of these. I was thinking because I kicked out a lot of names on my daily watch list. I have them in other lists, but I'm just learning, like, even if something moves and you get a bit sick and tired of them, just keep watching it, because things turns very quickly. It can potentially turn very quickly.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, that's why it's on the list. You know, I didn't take it off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Another thing I was showing Johnny, I had kind of redone the market strength. I didn't post this picture yet, just because honestly, it's just getting started. But so I took the averages from last year. which is my blue column here, and I just put a few days just to give me some color to this, because if you only have one day, there's no color for the conditional formatting. But either way, I mean, you can tell. I mean, Friday was a decent day. I mean, especially compared to
Yeah.
earlier in the week. My
Yeah.
average from last year for my market rating, and the number doesn't really matter, but it ended up at 20.6. So 22 is above whatever the median is. So we are at least trending upwards at the moment. So we'll see. I mean, if you look at overall stuff at like 52-week highs, that's what all these categories are, or not just 52-week highs, but this is 52-week highs. But if you look at stuff for the different time periods, that's how many stocks are up a certain percent based on 1 month, 3 months, 6 month, 1 year, and 1.5. It's kind of right around the averages, so we're kind of right at, just been trending here for a while. It's kind of all been break even.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a bit hard right now to say which direction everything is going in, and with again with the news that just appeared, but also before that, there's been a long time now with very weak volume coming in, and you see the Nasdaq has been going sideways. It has higher lows, so there are signs it can go both directions from here. I just saw that there was some conversation I saw of a couple of Chinese tickers, and BIDU was one of them, which had it's too late now, but that's a good move. So maybe it's worth exploring other markets.
yeah, I'm assuming this has a low ADR, which is why it's never on my list.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's a pretty obvious
it's not
pattern
it's
there.
not crazy low, but it's 375.
Yeah, it's not
So
bad. I mean, we're talking a
yeah,
$6 billion company, which isn't
yeah,
that big, but in the Chinese markets, I mean, I feel like half the reason why Burry backed out of all this stuff is because he really thought the Chinese markets were going to pop, and they just never did. He put a lot of his
yeah.
ammo in there, so
I have a much bigger market cap on it, Dane. So I'm not sure. I have like 50 billion.
yeah. What?
I have like 50 billion in market cap, or 46.
Well, let me check because that could be wrong.
Yeah,
And sometimes too, because that's an ADR, it might not be taking into account the rest of the company.
yeah,
Where am I? Yeah, 52 billion. So yeah, that's just for the
yeah,
ADR. So that's
yeah,
only like a tenth of what's actually going on share wise for Baidu.
yeah. So
Um,
so if you get your massive if you get your account size up to be massive, these are the tickers you want to put your money into, right? The big companies with then the sacrifices, they do move a little bit slower, but however, since 29th of December, it's a 20% move.
yeah. No, I mean
So
it's obvious. Otherwise, it's a good looking chart.
yeah.
You invert this thing. I would not say this looks bearish at all.
Yeah,
Bear. If this is the inverse chart, it looks great.
yeah. Yeah, and it's in free territory now, all time. I'm not sure if it's all time. No, it's not, but it's 52 week, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and like you said, now
yeah,
we're in brand new territory, so this thing could
yeah,
have a good move here.
yeah,
Not saying to buy it because Monday it could bounce back and bounce around before it goes up again or whatever, but it looks good.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna look other places, but apparently there's some money going into Chinese companies again, so maybe worth exploring if the Nasdaq starts to fall, and
Right.
you don't short. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I had just pulled it up, and once again, another one. If you look at the inverse, I would argue this on the inverse, it looks very bearish. So, as in it looks bullish. So, I would like to think it's
Yeah.
going to keep going up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Um,
also just trying to be optimistic about this year, hoping that we're not going to break down.
I have to say though, I've noticed a lot of stocks are like uh, either close to breaking through its 200-day moving average after a bigger fall, or they have just done it on volume.
Yeah.
So if you keep a track on those, I've seen some of those tickers have been in your daily watch list, Dane. A few of them has been under the 200-day moving average. I've started to look, and I see a lot of them. So if the market continues higher and they, you know, come into a stage 2 trend, these are potential leaders for the next move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. In 200 days, I know it's kind of an arbitrary moving average in terms of shouldn't really mean all that much, but it does in terms of when stuff breaks 200-day moving averages, it tends to be a super bullish sign, you know. And whether that's just a bunch of traders that start to believe in it, or that's just enough to show you that institutions are starting to add to their positions on some of those things, it kind of gives some credence to that.
Yeah. And again, going back to like the Rocket Lab space and all that stuff, aerospace and defense, one ticker I'm very excited about, if you can start to build a base, is ISSC, which has pretty quickly just gone through all the moving averages from being below it recently. The space has a lot of volume coming into it. There's a few tickers that are big performers here right now. This one is one of them. So this obviously needs to, it's quite extended here, but if it starts to move sideways and sets up, I want to get into this one.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea here. I mean, it did have a sell-off day and it ended up ending actually pretty strong, but it's tough to say what this
All
is
of
going to
them
do
had
now.
a candle like this, Dane, on Friday.
What'd you say?
All of them had a candle that looks like this on Friday.
Gotcha. So there was some obviously profit taking,
Yeah,
probably for
yeah,
a lot of people that caught any of this move, you know.
yeah.
And this shakes out a lot of the traders who have moved that, you know, break even stop or move their stops closer to it. That's what this wiping out.
If you look up Lunar as well, LUNR,
Yeah, that's on my list.
yeah, it kind of broke out on Friday, but
I
again,
would say
look
it
at the
did.
can. Huh?
I would say it did break out. I mean, I would call this the
Yeah,
flag. I mean,
yeah, exactly. But the candles are very volatile, so this is a stock that it's hard to stay into when you enter it, you know.
yeah, but
And up here, I think it's a bit extended right now.
yeah, I would argue that in the morning when this broke VWAP, you could have gotten in here.
Yeah, true.
And then it did do this pullback. You could have gotten in on this one because this actually cups and handles a little bit and then breaks
Yeah,
out through VWAP on top of it. So I mean that looks good. Um, I mean, yeah, you missed a big chunk of the move waiting that long. So like you said, it's a little bit harder to get that if you didn't catch this one kind of right off the rip. And this might have popped off a lot of people's radars because it dropped, you know, before it popped back up, but it did show a really good rebound. I mean, there was some definite selling in the morning, and then, you know, people were right there to buy and move this right back
yeah.
up. So, um,
Yeah, there's just a lot of them right now that it's definitely interesting to see the money coming in there and how they have also all been below the 200-day moving average recently and just have exploded above it.
yeah,
I think Rocket Lab didn't go below the 200-day moving average, but it got really close. And Rocket Lab now, you know, it looked good on Friday. I regret that I didn't manage to get into it, but it was a bit tough.
yeah. Like I said yesterday, it was a great day to try and take
Yeah,
things. But yeah, I just
yeah,
didn't have the opportunity after, you know, the first part of the morning to keep doing it.
yeah.
Um,
But things can turn quickly. It's like start of the year. You're gonna get. It's hard to interpret the last few trading sessions with the half open days and a low
right.
volume coming in and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of
Um,
annoying that you know, because you know I'm in a hospital setting, so we only get 6 holidays through the year, and 2 of those holidays have to fall back to back. So like those weeks are like so
Okay.
like crunchy, and
Yeah.
it's always I wish it was more spread out.
Yeah. 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 It's been. I think we need a little bit of time to see where things are going.
Right.
But
Um,
interesting to see this group. I think, and I have targeted ISSC if it sets up.
yeah. No, I see you. Yeah. Once again, guys, for those of you who don't watch the stream, you know, consistently, um, we do have all this stuff posted in Discord. We post our watch lists in the morning. I post market strength in the morning. So you can see what we're looking at as the market opens. And then, you know, I know it was the one live stream that I did. If you guys want to see how I actually kind of work when I'm actually live, you can go back to that stream to see, you know, what I'm watching and what I'm thinking as the intraday charts are kind of going, and how I'm watching volume and how I'm watching my list to see what actually looks positive enough to take a position. And then we've talked about it, my strategy a million times in here. You know, we're not saying anything new. We're just attempting to do what all the best traders do, which is those stop losses are tight, and you know, you're just looking for the right move, and there's a mix of different ways to do it. But
Yeah. You won't find anything new here, Dane.
yeah, no, I mean, there's, you know, yeah, the whole point of the stream is even from the start is I was hoping that, you know, when it finally takes off for us, which is it's coming soon, it's got to be soon,
It's coming.
any day.
Well, it depends on your perspective, right? Because we looked at the performances in the stock championship, and you would have been placed like around 20 position or something in some of the categories. So have you then taken off, or it's the beginning, right?
Yeah, true. This might be
Yeah.
just the beginning for me.
Yeah.
This will be my breakout year.
Yeah.
Shooting for 300%.
Yeah.
But either way, my point being is that like it's really just to show the process. Like, this isn't easy. You know, I've spent so much time going through all this stuff, and still last year, the only I beat the S&P, I will say that, but that was only because the last week was so poor, and I didn't really do anything. I took NRGV, and got stopped out immediately on whatever day I took it, or NGVR, is that what it is?
No, NRGV. You just typed it wrong.
Thank you. I know. I'm like, I swear I'm dyslexic with this ticker. I think I took it on this day.
Oh yeah, we took it on the same day,
which was Tuesday, and I got in and got stopped right out. So
yeah,
I was like,
same.
well, whatever. but once again, that was a stop out for like I think I lost a penny. So
Yeah.
like those stocks, I've been really pumped, because this whole idea of me of just listen, time it right, and if you don't time it right, you're out, and you know, don't kill yourself on that. You know, I used to hesitate, and I'd be like, let's see if it comes back, and you know, then it goes down like another penny or two, and then like, let's keep waiting a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you're down, you know, to either your full stop loss, or you know, and that's why for a while I was taking pretty small positions, because you know, I'm trying that, that approach could have worked in a different way. It's just slower.
Yeah, I've seen some strategy, and we have kind of done this, Dane, before I saw this strategy. But there's a guy on X that I follow. He talks about, I think it's his concept. He talks about like scaling out of a position when it's negative, before it reaches your stop loss point. You know,
Yeah.
which has reduced his negative R rate, or his average stop, quite a bit, down from 1 to 0.60 or something, even more, I think. And that matters in a year, because it's all about limiting the downside and the drawdown and the bad months, right? So and to keep, like, to quickly be able to raise the stop loss to just take minimal damage, that is a big part of what I have learned, and what I have implemented in my strategy now, which is why I raised the stop loss already in FLNC, on the same day that I took it.
Yeah, and part of what I've been thinking is I got to the impression where, you're looking to hit like a home run here and there, and that strategy can work, but it's just really tough to implement, and it's so rare that you have something go your way, and then stop losses, like you said, can really add up. So I've taken the approach now. I'd rather get 1% a week, on average if I could, than try and hit these home runs where you get 20% in a week. I mean, don't get me wrong. The idea is to get the 20% on top of all these, like have 1% weeks or break even weeks, and then every once in a while you're going to have a week that like you hit 2 or 3, and really can outperform and boost the portfolio. But
Yeah, I think that's the key. Like the average period for you in a year needs to be stable,
right,
and then the winners will be the difference.
and kind of what you're saying too is it's kind of there's two school of thoughts normally going into these kind of things. Like Q, for instance, like I like to take my almost the entire position all at once, and then from there I'll trim it and I'll ride it up.
Yeah.
And he has his at low of day, and it's just kind of locked in for that for his stop out point. Then you have
Yeah.
like Minervini and I believe Zanger. I know other ones have done it. Levere, if you read about him, they talk about they scale in, so they take let's say a 5% position. It starts to move in the right direction. They add another 5%, and they're basically paying for the risk as they go. But with Q's approach, if you just take the whole thing up front, you can almost do the opposite of scaling into it and take the opposite approach with loss. So if it does start to pull back, what determines your stop loss is, let's say it moves down 1%. We'll sell, let's say you took a 20% position. If it moves down 1%, you sell 10% right there. So now it's only a 10% position, but you've already limited your loss now because you already got rid of the 10%. And if it was to continue to move down, so maybe sell another 5% and then the last 5% out. And that gives you some breathing room to stay in that stock. If it takes right off, then you have your whole position in there. And if it doesn't take right off, you don't get stopped out immediately, but you also immediately start cutting your risk. So you could go either approach. I could see that working. I don't know if I have the mental fortitude to make sure I'm keeping up on it as it pulls back like that. That's the only reason I'm not trying that right now. My goal right now is keep it really simple. Take good sized positions. Doesn't work, get out right away.
I'm the same. I've come to the same conclusion, and we have jobs, we can't sit, and we also have families, So my focus right now in my situation is I need simplicity in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So I also want to just get the position in, and like you said on the last stream, I think, and we have talked about it before, like if you take a position and within an hour you're down 2%, the stock you're looking for is not supposed to move like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your
so
timing's missed.
maybe then just a red flag already, and okay, take that 2% loss and get out of it, and just if you have time, just keep tracking it, and if it turns around again, you still like it, jump in again, but you can't do that 100 times, but it's better to take that off instead of maybe the downside reaches 4% stop instead, because when it starts from your entry and it pulls back 2%, it's like, what are you actually waiting for?
Right.
The stock shouldn't move like that. You have done a mistake in your timing or in your pick, or it's just like a lot of them will turn around, but why would you wait till it reaches your full stop, for example, which would be like 4% or more? That's how I've been started to think, which in terms have managed to raise my average stop loss.
Well, here I just wanted to point out to what you're saying too. So with like SOC, like I said, I had gotten in here and then I got stopped out over here. Ideally, though, I would have, if I was able to watch it, I would have saw this cup and handle and possibly tried here as it broke VWAP.
Yeah.
Could have saw this consolidation. And think about it. If you're getting in here somewhere sorry, I don't mean to block it with my paste here. If you're getting in here somewhere, and let's say it moves up, you get stopped out at this 1063. If I'm getting stopped out there and it's for basically no loss, like who cares how many trades I do? You
Yeah.
know, like if I do a trade here and I get stopped out and it's for basically like a penny or break even or whatever, it doesn't really matter what the number is. But I mean, as long as it's super small, I'm talking, you know, 0.5%, 1/4%, less, preferably less. I'm at the point now I want basically as minimal as possible. So almost
Yeah.
always break even or more.
Yeah.
And you know, it bounces back, and then you know, then the next time I see it form right here, you take it somewhere in here, and maybe you get stopped in here once. Maybe you take a position here and you get stopped, and then all of a sudden you see it on this candle finally break out, and you're like, okay, this is my chance, and you get in here, and maybe you ride this up, and then for some reason the stupid 1072 it stops you out again. Okay, but
Yeah.
it's still setting up, and then hopefully on like your fourth try, you know, you're not losing
That's your big
anything
signal.
if you keep the idea that you're constantly getting out at break even. It doesn't matter if you try this thing like 3 or 4 times, because
No.
on this one, when it does finally work, you can get in and then you can ride this up, and then you basically had no losses the first few times, and you finally caught a winner.
Yeah.
You know,
And hopefully then with big position on it, you know, and that's my next thing, like position sizing. I've realized how important it is to get that right, but that's hard because obviously you want even tighter stop loss when you raise your position size to minimize the total potential loss. But um, at the same time, it's very important to get that big position in something you have high conviction in.
well, if you're going to try
You're
and
only going to need
really
a few of
outperform, you
those
have to
in a
have big
year.
positions.
Sorry?
I said if you're going to try and really outperform, I argue you have to have large position sizes at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
there's just in terms of how many stocks do a 10% move in the year, like thousands of stocks have 10% moves every, you know, there's going to be stocks that have 10% moves almost every day throughout the year.
Yeah.
Then there's you know, how many stocks are going to move up 100 200%. Now you're talking, you know, maybe a few hundred throughout the year, and you have to capture all of those without dealing with stop losses. And that's what I'm saying. If you're taking like, you know, less than 5% positions or around 5%, you just need to hit it that much hard. Like you need to hit all those names in order to really outperform. So it's
Yeah.
just not that easy. You're statistically working against yourself if that's the strategy you go about.
Yeah.
So I'm at the
You
point now where I would rather approach this as essentially as a day trade with really tight stops, and then and I know we keep talking about this, but this strategy for me is really starting to work, or at least
Yeah.
I'm not seeing huge losses. So, and I'm much more confident to trade. I used to, you know, I feel like I hem and hawed a lot because I'm like, should I take this right now? And now I take it, and you know, like, you know, as soon as I switch over, I'm like, is it up or is it down? If it's down, I sell it right away. If it's
Yeah.
up a little bit, okay, move that. Let's set a stop loss, and
Yeah.
kind of from there, there's, I mean, it's kind of simple. You know, like I
Yeah.
don't have to think as much anymore about what I'm doing in that fast paced environment.
No. What you probably need to accept then is that you're gonna miss out on some moves.
Yeah, like this
Uh,
one.
yeah, but that's I saw a short video from one of the Kulamagi streams, and he was talking about like it's okay to miss a 5-star setup because you're gonna get more.
Right.
You're gonna get way more chances. You can't miss them forever, you know. But which you're not gonna do if you keep a track on this. One of them is gonna work, and that one, you know, it depends on how you play it after, but it will definitely pay for the small losses you took in the other ones. If you get a nice position in, but you of course have to find your strategy that fits with what you're comfortable with. Like if I have a massive position in something over a weekend, for example, in this environment, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be I wouldn't be very calm, I think. Um, so you need to figure this out on your own. But I don't know. Then are you operating with like 20 to 30% position, or like should I say 10 to 30, or What's
Typically,
your
I want
limit?
25 or 30.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm going relatively heavy because I like I said I really do like 30% position sizes right now, and the idea being I need the goal is to hit 100%. So I'm just trying to do the math in my head, and it doesn't really matter because, like I said, it's going to come and go. But to say that you're up 2% a week is not a crazy ask to do. And if you take a 30% position size, the stock only needs to be up 6% essentially from where you buy. And if you sold at 6%, that'd be 2% for the portfolio almost. So I need that
Yeah,
to
like you
happen
said,
one time a week.
like I said, you just said in terms of how many stocks can you find in a year that goes up 10% in the period you hold it. It's actually a lot.
It's a ton, which is why I'm
Yeah.
saying if I go in on a position, let's say when I'm looking at my list, something's up 4 or 5% for the day, and the setup's right where I kind of want an entrance to get in, that's where I'll take the position. And can I think it can
Yeah.
go up another, up to 10% for the day? Yeah, there's a good chance it does. And I'm not saying I'm always selling just because I'm up the 6%, but I'm slowly moving that stop loss up as it moves up. And
Yeah.
yes, I get stopped out of things for less than what I want, but because I'm trying to swing trade, not day trade, one of those times it's not going to stop once it goes up 10%. It's going to go up 20%, and
Yeah.
like this one, like if I had caught this one, and I'll probably move if I was in this, just looking at this daily chart here, I would argue this is like a strong place where it's pretty far from where it's currently trading at. Maybe even just use VWAP. So I
Yeah.
would set my stop if I was still in this at like 1142, which I'm looking more at what the market's doing in terms of purchasing this, not at what what a percentage return for me would be is. And then
Yeah.
let's say I had gotten in here, I've now locked in whatever that is. I don't know. That probably it wouldn't be a ton of percent, but like I said, that's probably the 6% that I'm looking for in a week.
But
Basically from my
it's
position.
in one day, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and we're talking one day, and
yeah.
who knows? I mean, if when it hit this 1295, maybe I moved it to this region, and maybe I got stopped out. But even if you had done that, that would be a decent return in a really short amount of
Successful
time.
trade in my opinion,
Right. So that's still a solid trade. And my
Yeah.
goal is I don't want it to be so tight. Like I would probably see how this is 1158 is the low here. I would probably set it right below there because
Yeah.
I like Q's idea of always using the recent lows from the. You can use low of the day, but when a stock's moving like this, I want low of the last base.
Yeah.
And then
I
all
I
it takes is like you catching like a stock like TERN or something like that we were talking about. And if you capture it in any of these areas, then you let that ride for a while. And I
yeah.
know we said we've kind of been in like this sideways moving market, so I'm much more apt to sell even just at end of the day. But when the markets flip, and this is why it's so important to pay attention to the market strength, when the markets flip, you start to switch that strategy to you trim less and you hold even longer because those stocks
Yeah.
are going to continue to run. And in those markets, that's how you really, really kill it. And then in these
Yeah.
markets that are a little bit all over the place, you're taking smaller wins, but you're still keeping that risk of loss super tight.
And on this strategy, for some people, it might make sense also to just focus on lower ADR stocks, not like a crazy low, but around 4. Because if you aim for a 10% move, then for a 30% position, a lot of those low ADR stocks can move that amount in a matter of a few days.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll say about lower ADR stocks is because they're lower ADR, they also tend to when they flip from going up or down, it tends to be a lot more in a straight line. And what I mean is, for instance, when it starts to have some buying pressure, it starts to slowly trickle up. It doesn't pull back. It won't kick you out as quickly as something that's super volatile. So there's a huge benefit for that. And same
Pull
thing.
up FTAI, Dane. That's the one I'm in right now, and the ADR is around 4%, and I took it there like 30th of December. I
This
think
is
this
a
is a
60-minute
good.
chart, but to his point, if when it breaks out here, It's kind of volatile, but if you can get in somewhere towards the base here, you once you're in, you're kind of locked in. You don't have to worry about
Yeah,
getting kicked out too easy.
look at the last 3 candles. It's just like it moved up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I regretted immediately that I didn't take a double position because I went in with a 10% position, but I should have done 20 on that one.
Yeah, and
'Cause I
that's
had a
why
low
me,
stop.
I've gotten to the point now where I just take the large position sizes because I don't know which ones are going to work and which ones won't. I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
If you
trying
check
to.
the if you check the weekly on FTAI, it's very clear, the breakout.
Yeah, in terms of breaking two. And once again, we're at 52-week highs. This is actually 2-year highs.
Yeah.
Or maybe even longer. I don't even know.
And
Wow, since
I
22,
have
this thing has just been a rocket, essentially.
yeah, I think my gain in 3 days is 16% on that. So if I was in it with a third, I sold the first partial yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if my total position was, I haven't done 30% so much yet, but I've done 20. You know, I would prefer 20 over 10 on this one.
Right, and that's why I'm saying, you know, whatever it is, just think about that percent, you know, return for the portfolio. You take a 10% position, you're up 16, well, you're up 1.6% for the portfolio. If you had
Yeah.
taken 20, you'd be up 3.2% for the portfolio. If you had
Yeah.
taken 30, you're up. Why am I can't do math. 4.8, so 5% for the portfolio, and that's in 1 week on one trade. You know.
Yeah.
And if I mean you want to really outperform, do 5% a week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, holy shit, your account will go through the roof. I don't even know what 5% would be for a week, but it would be stupidly high.
Yeah. But it's like, again, back to the simplicity of things. It's not simple to get it, but it's like the framework should filter out so much noise that you can possibly filter out, you know?
Right. Yeah, if you did 5% for a week, it'll 11 times your account. For 1 year. If you did that for 1 year, your account would be up 11 times.
I will take it.
So in 2 years, you could take like $10,000 to like a few million.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's what
so
we're going to do.
That's the goal. And like I said, like and this is what Minervinian, I feel like Johnny and I keep coming to this conclusion is like what you're trying to do is essentially simple. It's just knowing it well enough that like you can do all this and then take the emotion out of it. Don't like hold stuff when it starts to go down. Don't if you're like this longer term investor, and I think this is probably what Johnny and I's biggest struggle was, is we do believe in value is what moves things. But the problem is now is it's not value that moves things in terms of like these quicker time periods. It's just the voting machine. So knowing in the long run that the fundamentals are what move things, that's good to know because you understand how institutions work and why a stock moves up and down. And it can protect you. Like if I'm looking at a chart, for instance, and it looks like a good setup, and I realize, oh my God, this company's going to go bankrupt in the next 3 weeks, probably a good one to avoid. You know, pretty simple check, but good reason to avoid it. Or for instance, let's say a company's, you know, going to have to, NVA, I had talked about this last week and I've kind of taken them off my list for a bit here.
I did the same.
They did the share count dilution, which they were raising money, and actually it did bounce back a little bit on Friday. So that's kind of bullish just with the overall thing. But the
very
chart
low
broken
volume
down is what my point being is. And, you know, even though the chart looked really good here, that dilution, I guess, should have been in the back of my mind, just thinking that they're actually, the reason why I like this one is because they're not in bankruptcy issues in any way. They're just raising that because they're trying to get their minds going as quick as possible now. So a little bit different of a play. But you get my point.
But also, then if you look, you know, when we did deep value, I was in Mastercraft boat. If you pull that chart or MCFT, because I've seen this so many times since I started swing trading. I would never touch it if I did deep value even. This is a chart that is very, very tricky and it doesn't move much, you know?
Yeah. This is a tough chart, super choppy.
Yeah, like why would I jump into that with the knowledge I have now combined with the deep value? Like they had cash, they survived a terrible period for this space. The business was doing well, and I did make money on the trade, but just briefly, But why would I bother with all that stuff when I look at this chart? You know?
Right. No, I agree. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just so many things that are a little bit easier to see. And the problem with something like this is, it just goes to show you that there's a ton of open liquidity in these things. There's a lot of people buying and selling this in terms of how much it's moving, but because of that, it's super easy to get whipsawed out. I mean,
Yeah.
you even as this, I mean, and it should consolidate too if someone's acquiring. That's the other thing too, is like, I've gotten to the point now, why look at things that aren't being acquired by institutions? It makes it so much harder to be the first person buying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you think you're the only person in the world seeing something for the first time and buying it because you're, just that person that happens to catch it. Don't get me wrong, you can do it that way, but you really got to take the time and effort to put it in there and go through and do all the reading. I mean, that's the more the Buffett approach, which is a full-time job. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And I'm not saying that there's not a strategy there. It's just super time consuming. And
Yeah.
I came to the conclusion I don't have that amount of time to be putting into the companies like I should be. And and then the worst part, like you said too, half the time I could have just looked at the chart and realized what was going on just from the chart, let alone
Yeah, because that is
going through
what
all
matters.
that.
Like what you said, like you can be right, 100% right. You can see it 100 years before everyone else. But if all those everyone else are not interested in the stock, you're not going to make a lot of money.
Right. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It
So
doesn't matter how much you like it.
no, and it doesn't matter how much right you are either.
Right.
Uh, if the other people haven't caught on, and you are some kind of genius that sees stuff that other people don't see, which a lot of the deep value people are like that.
Right.
And then you know how long Barry waited for some of his trades, and in the movie, even I don't know if he said this in real life, but what's the difference of being early and wrong?
Right. That's
That
why I
that
don't do
is a
option
good
trading.
point. Yeah, yeah.
Because options are the same thing. I mean, I could be right, and as long as my timing's wrong, it doesn't matter. No one cares. I just
Yeah,
lost a ton of money on options.
yeah. That's a point that I stuck in my head a bit. But then back to FTAI. Do you know why I took it beyond the setup?
Wait, sorry, what did you say?
Do you know the reason I took it beyond having a setup?
No.
It has AI in the name.
Yeah, I figured I figured that. Yeah, genius insight.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
that's the kind of next level thinking you get here, guys. But no, I mean
Just
seriously, like I guarantee you, if you do a like a background check, just go on ChatGPT and type in how have tickers with the letters AI in them performed versus the market. It will crush it.
you put a AI portfolio.
Yes, if you just had touched AI this year, you'd be fine. That's probably a reasonable strategy. Is
Yeah,
if you want to be an investor, just what is the hottest sector for the year? Just buy all those stocks at the start of the year, and just cycle them out at the end when the next big thing comes in. When the next big thing comes in that everyone's talking about, and then buy all those stocks and just keep doing that over and over. That'll work for sure.
it is funny, of course, but it's also a little bit true, right? Like there is always a couple of themes that is very hot throughout the year,
Well, last year was
and
quantum. Remember the quantum names?
yeah, quantum and still a bit, with Rigetti had some nice moves this year.
Yeah, sure.
So the AI and quantum and even big crypto, has these are the themes that you kind of want to pay attention to still. And recently now it has been gold and silver and the miners. So it is funny, but it is also a bit truth to it.
Yeah, right.
Rigetti there in September. Uh, I beat myself up for missing that so much. Yeah. It's so clear, right?
Yeah, I mean, it always is afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and then it starts to ride these moving averages so closely, and then it all starts to pull up. And on this day, I'm sure it probably pops too quick for me.
261% from there to the top.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Is there's going to be time periods where you can catch one of these names, and if you have a 30% position in one of these names, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're not going to trim that, but I mean you can capture a serious move on one stock, and even if you capture half of that with 30% or whatever, I mean that's literally an entire year's performance basically in one move. And this was
You know,
I mean you only had to hold this thing for like a month.
yeah. I don't think it closed below the 10-day on 1st of October there, but it's like right there. So I don't know if you would sell there, but up to 1st October from the entry, that would be almost 80%.
It didn't close below it, so I wouldn't. I mean, if you're following Q's
Yeah.
method, you would not have sold this.
So then you sell on 17th of October then, which then you have captured the entire 200% move.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In like a quantum name that's like pretty easy to see that like most people are just buying this. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those ones where, like this industry was just loved at the time. It's,
yeah, and also in a name that has a history in, like you said, that period, October 24, it moved up almost 3,000%.
Yeah.
And then you catch it a year after, pretty much on this exact 1 year mark, and you get another 260%.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, right? It's a very good performing stock.
And I mean, and when I look at this too,
and
this
probably
one's so
shit
obvious
fundamental.
because, one thing that I know those guys have talked about is there can be multiple setups in one move. So look at this. You have this sideways channel here.
Yeah.
Whoops. I want this to be a little bit lower like that. You have that channel there. You have this consolidation right here that breaks out. Then you have a cup and handle right there off this. So you have literally 3 setups going on in one small period where it breaks out and all the moving averages are going in the right direction.
And then you can go to the weekly and check the setup it has on the weekly too. And just add that to all those multiple ones. This is a big one, right?
Yeah.
So this is the stock you want to study.
And honestly, there's this bigger setup here. There's this other littler setup right here.
Yeah, that's the one I was focusing on when I went back to look at it.
Right. This one has a setup here.
Yeah.
And then a cup and handle right there.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And then same thing. And then you get the upwards channel. And another thing too, I know some traders use this as their timing to get out. They have the upward channel move, and when it ends below this part of the channel, that's their sign to get out too. So you can use that as well as another method of getting out besides just. I think those are the 3 I've seen that work really well. There's that. There's a moving day average, or Lance always says something that breaks the low. So like Lance would get out on this candle because it broke. It ended the day below the previous low.
Yeah. Okay.
So in terms of swing trading, there's that.
I kind of like
even with this too. I mean, once again, there's another perfect bull flag here.
Yeah.
There's this move.
It's a bit extended up there, but the volume is just pouring into this name,
Yeah, but this never breaks that 10-day, which makes me think like this is all still in this move here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and once again, it's not that this stuff's hard; it's just hard to execute.
Yeah, I saw Kulamagi was tweeting he had a response to someone on this ticker, but that was on 12th of September, and his response was, yeah, looks good, but the breakout was 9th of September. So he was, I assume he was already in it.
Yeah, well, he's
But
probably, if he said that, then what he's doing is he's looking at right here to here, and he's saying it was this first move there.
yeah,
But
exactly.
Q's also someone, he's kind of nutty. He wants to be in at the start of, and I mean the earliest start of the move. Not, he doesn't want to be on this cup and handle. He doesn't want to be in here. He doesn't want to wait for this
Yeah,
flag.
no,
He wants down
no,
here. Which I get it.
yeah,
That's why the guy just kills it every year. But
yeah, yeah, because he makes a big point, like, but he does it himself in the streams. But he says like you should never chase. Just move to the next one if you miss the breakout, you know.
right, and
But because you never know, and there's a reason that he says that, because he has probably done the studies and see that they can break down after day 3 to 5, you know, and you get stopped out. You never know that Rigetti will have this massive move,
right,
which is why he wants to get in there at 9 of September instead of 12, because already then who knows what's going to happen in the next week.
right. And also too, I mean, you know, probably what Q's also seeing is you have this like, you know, general volume down here that hasn't broken
Yeah,
that. And then once you start to get into this range and you get, I'm trying not to grab that. Once you get into this and you have this peaking volume here, he's saying like this is where you know that you're not getting in at the start of the move, and you never know what's going to shake you out in this part.
yeah,
So, and
I
stuff
know.
just has false breakouts, you know. I mean, it is what it is. So you can't. It's always super easy to see it in hindsight, but you have to remember at the time, making that call right as it happens is a lot harder to do.
Yeah, and also to play it out after
Right.
to ride it up, you know. It's not easy.
No, it's really not.
And
And,
it's
and the other thing
this is
too,
like
to your
this
point,
is a,
always saying stuff's
yeah,
extended. The
yeah,
50-day right here is super tight with these ones.
yeah, it was
It taps
perfect.
it and then it moves off of it. And I guarantee you, if Q's looking at this, he sees it dropped, it bounced up, couldn't make it, tapped it again. Now it's tight, and then when he sees that candle up on this serious day of movement, that's where he
Yeah,
definitely would make a move.
yeah. In my sheet, when I go back to that day before the breakout, it trades 0.18 times its ATR percentage above the 50-day, which
Right,
is just, it's not extended at all, you know.
right.
Yeah.
All right, I do got to get going here just 'cause I got a bunch of stuff to
Yeah.
do today. But overall, it was a pretty good
That's,
stream. I think we covered some good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and I'm going to continue being a bit careful in the probably whole of January, but I'm feeling positive about the direction we are heading
Yeah, I feel
in
like
terms of
I've talked
the
about.
strategy.
I mean, my strategy is pretty set now.
Yeah,
And then what do you call it? Just a few things I'm going through. I didn't really show the dash today because I keep getting this error. Excel isn't able to pull the data and refresh it, so I don't look at any of this. This is all wrong, I'm sure, because it won't update. I did
yeah,
take the dive. I deleted the database, so I have to start to rebuild this with the stuff I'm in. But like, for instance, like if you pull in my fundamentals, so I had just pulled up a few stocks. So like VUZI's here, this has data. I can actually go through this and assess the company. But if you look at some of these other names, like what the hell am I going to do with this? Like, you know, I mean, you can't do anything
yeah,
with this. So some of them, I'm going to look at it and just be like, all right, whatever, there's nothing here. But, you know, when it comes to me figuring out, like, if I see this on Wolf, the first thing I'm doing is going to see what the news is. Like, what's going on with this company, because as of now, there's nothing. And if there's a decent narrative there, I'm okay to keep this in my category of like, okay, it's got something going for it. Versus like,
yeah,
okay, it has nothing going for it.
yeah,
So just something I'm gonna start to do is like on that one, I'll just say there's nothing. Even this one,
yeah,
I mean, like this pre-revenue. So
yeah,
tough one to really, once again, just need to know my narrative. But
And this is where we are lucky, or we can benefit from having these sheets, then. But there are other ways you can pull in, because what you really want to look for is like cash flow and how much debt and cash they have, right?
yeah,
And if there's a positive earnings trend and all, like the basic stuff, that's kind of what you want to look for in swing trading, right?
yeah,
And there are a number of ways to get that data if you don't have the sheets. You can even use, Yahoo Finance or Market Watch, or there's a website called Ticker Terminal. Like you have to pay there, but there are a lot of ways.
but yeah, I ended up last year, or the end of last year, at the 18% or whatever it was. So
Yeah,
and then
very good.
this week I just had 0.6% of a percent, so I was fine with it. I mean, it wasn't a bad week. I got stopped out on a lot of things, but well, not a lot,
Yeah,
but most of the things I took just got stopped out. But whatever, it was still
yeah,
for a positive gain.
yeah,
So that's my goal, just to slowly keep trickling up.
yeah. I built. I know I have to go, but I built a new sheet these past few days that is my complete, like a tracker sheet of my own trades for the year, and own performance. And if anyone is interested in build out sheets and have some kind of knowledge these days, if you use one of the, the LLMs. I use ChatGPT for this. Uh, you can pretty effectively and quickly build a very sensible sheet, that can do powerful things, I think.
Right.
Um, so this one I have a lot of data points that I'm going to track down on each trade. So it automatically points out my best trades during a year. And also it's like my dashboard in my interactive broker account. I pretty much recreated it in a sheet, which I'm gonna just use for throughout the year. I can see some patterns in my own trading. So I'm looking forward to see how that will, you know, um, play out throughout 2026.
Right. All right. Well, I think we'll end it there. Hope everybody has a good rest of your week. Yeah, my goal is to keep going through, start to build out the database. There's still some stuff I have to clean up in my other spreadsheets. I haven't had time. It's so terrible how little time I have these days to work on all this
Yeah,
stuff. I'm glad I got started right before I had children, because it makes it really tough. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, other than that, join the Discord if you guys are interested. If you see this and you're watching in hindsight, I know a lot of people don't ever get to watch this live because we kind of have a random ass timing to do this, but it works for us. So sorry, this is
Yeah.
when we can do it. And other than that, I just hope someone's
Hope the
getting some
news.
use out of this.
Yeah, and I hope the news we received just before the stream doesn't infect. A bit cynical to think about the stock market, but this is what the stream is about, and where we have our money. So I hope this coming week will be positive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, have a good one.
See ya.